Hello, and welcome to the Sugar Bell Review, a program dedicated to the learning about the people, places, and policies that make up the Bellbrook-Sugarcreek community. This evening we have with us Jenny Lake. She is a part of the Special Needs Parents Committee and has come to tell us a little bit about herself and how she got on the committee and what the committee is for.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate it. We're excited to learn a little bit more about all of this. So why don't we start with something that's probably a little easier. Tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm Jenny Lake, and we've been residents in Bellbrook since 2008. And I'm married to Josh Lake, and we own a financial advising practice. He's the CEO, and I'm just his support system.
I'm sure you do quite a bit more.
Yeah. And we have 5 children. 6 is on the way. Our kids range from 9 to 2.5 to due in August 1st. So
you're busy.
We are very busy. It's very crazy, chaotic at our house, but we love it.
Good kind of chaos,
right?
Yeah,
it's a good kind of chaos.
Do you have any pets to add to that chaos?
We do. We have Duke and Sophie. They've been around. Duke has been around for about 15 years. We're pretty sure he's a zombie at this point.
Is dogs?
Yes, dogs.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's 2 dogs. But recently we have submitted paperwork for a service animal for our daughter.
Oh, okay. Is she in the middle? Is she where?
She's number 2, okay. Olivia. She's 7 years old, and she goes to Stephen Bell.
Oh, awesome. Is she loving it there?
She does. She misses school so much. They both do, the 2 that go to school.
Okay, well that's, and what would she be getting the service dog for?
For Olivia, she has Down syndrome. So her needs are mostly to keep her safe in public places. So she loves to be independent and wants to do things all by herself, which is great. We encourage it, but sometimes it's not safe, and we really do need that extra support to kind of help her. And it also can be calming for her to have an animal with her when there's a lot of stimulus around.
Okay, well that sounds exciting. Is she excited about the prospect?
She is. She loves animals. She loves dogs. Everybody's excited about it.
That sounds like a lot of fun. A new addition to the household.
Yes.
On top of the new addition to the household.
Another addition, yes. So many additions.
Now, is Olivia the reason that you became involved in the parent group for special needs?
Absolutely. Olivia is definitely the number 1 reason why I'm involved. When Olivia was born, I was a teacher in a nearby school district, and after about a year of teaching, we decided it would be best if I stayed home with her because there was so much involved with therapies and appointments. So it was tough, but we made that decision, and I'm so thankful that we were able to do that. But being in Bellbrook, I didn't know anybody else that had children with special needs. Okay. So it was really interesting. I thought it was pretty much alone, but then one day I met this other mom at physical therapy. She had her son Luke there, and we started talking, and she was from Bellbrook.
Oh.
So we became fast friends, and her name is Samantha Steenley.
Okay. And
Samantha and I started noticing some things that we wanted to talk about or maybe possibly change in our community, not just our school district, but our community. And we started the Bellbrook Special Needs Family Facebook page.
Okay.
She initially started it, and I've kind of taken over as the admin. She's still there to help with advice and suggestions and all the legal jargon that goes with special education. But through that, we were able to meet so many other parents
in the area.
In Bellbrook, and it has been an amazing journey with them. I've had coffees, I've sat down with different parents, we've kind of just come together. It's been really, really fun to see. Where we thought we were alone to now we have all of these people.
And such a support structure now.
It is.
You have one another to kind of
Yes.
expect, even though everybody, I'm sure, has a slightly different situation or a
Absolutely.
vastly different situation, but you now have one another to kind of go to and work with. It sounds like a really important key to being comfortable in your community.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's been wonderful. We've formed so many friendships, so many relationships with each other, just to help each other and support each other. And from that, I feel like it's given us a voice to know that there's other people like us. And from there, I started meeting with Dr. Kozat a lot, and some other parents started meeting with Dr. Kozat a lot. And I attended a lot of coffees with the superintendent, even though I had nothing to really say, but just to be a visual reminder for him that we're still here.
Yep.
And he really was receptive and told us we would like to form this committee.
Okay.
And you're one of the parents, I would like to be on it. And of course, I was willing to do that. And the other parents that were on it, that were asked to be on it, I was quite surprised by, because we were all kind of squeaky wheels. We're loud.
Okay.
So, and sometimes you have to be. And so it was really, really nice. And we've been working well together for, I think it was last fall's when we really started meeting.
Moving forward.
Moving forward, and we developed some actionable suggestions for the board, and they've really taken to these suggestions and have really tried to implement many of them currently.
I was at that Board of Education meeting. It's actually one of the reasons I contacted you, because it was wonderful to see you up there and talking to the board and telling them, like, this is what our families need. And it's so, maybe you could tell me and remind me a little bit. I know some of them were, there was a buddy system with the kids to help with the children include the special needs kids, and there was a couple of continuing education suggestions for the teaching staff.
Yes, there was, I think, about 13, and I can't remember all 13 off the top of my head.
It's okay.
But definitely we talked about the Best Buddies program, which is a nationwide program, and it teaches children how to interact with each other, whether they are a typical learner or an atypical learner, or child with special needs or disability. And you kind of help them form a relationship, a meaningful relationship, which is so important. The whole point of the actionable suggestions was to help change the mindset within our community, to see our kids included in a meaningful manner that benefits them, but also benefits everyone, really, in general. My son is in 3rd grade, and I want him to be around other children with disabilities and not just his sister.
Well, and the world is such a varied place, and so
it's so diverse.
Yeah, even if his sister with Down syndrome, there are other kids that have other disabilities that would teach him new lessons.
Exactly. It kind of helps build a well-rounded character for our children, and they can interact, and it's just common. It's not different anymore. It's just that our world is diverse. So
I've enjoyed where Josh has a cousin whose youngest has Down syndrome, and she keeps a Facebook diary of her adventures as a parent with a little girl who's just so enjoyable to watch grow and develop, and it's almost more exciting when she's hitting these milestones that are so important, because she's working so hard,
so much harder
to get to those milestones, and in and out of the hospital, and you said that it's like that's what she's been experiencing, and so it's good to hear that you found so much strength and support within the local community. It'd be nice to have the rest of the community also on board with making sure that we can do stuff that incorporates all aspects
right
of our world. if you have advice for the people outside of the school system on how you would like to see the world include kids like Olivia that aren't different. I mean, they're just kids. But sometimes they get treated in ways that would make it,
Yeah, absolutely.
What would you want to say to the greater community to like, these are the things that as special needs parents, we would love to see our kids be a part of? Or
I would say hello. Just come and say hi to her. Don't discourage your children from saying hi. Encourage it. Don't be afraid to talk about diversity and disabilities because it's part of our world. Someday your children are going to be working with other people that may have a disability or, different diversities, and it's just part of it. So don't be afraid to say hi and encourage interaction between, my child and your child.
embrace it.
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
See, that's a good thing, because there are things I think that some of us who have, what would you say, typical? Or
Typical, atypical, there's all kinds of different
the terminology.
language, and it's ever changing. So
see, that's just the question. Like, how would I address this, and what would be the right terminology for me to say? Hey, I don't have this situation at home, so that's it's nice to know that we can ask those questions.
Absolutely, for language is such an important part of our communication, and so we do. Many of us have a preference on how you address the disability itself. For Olivia, she has Down syndrome. She is not Down syndrome. She's not Downs. That's another one. She's not a Downs child. She's a child. So, that's just one thing to learn is people first language. She's a child first.
I think I remember you saying something about that at the Board of Education meeting.
Yes, that was one of the things that we had talked about, and we talked about also incorporating the word inclusion throughout the language in our district's policies and their strategic plan, adding that into their strategic plan, which they have already made modifications. So we're very happy about that.
It sounds like you guys were pushing for some reform within the school. Have you seen some positive changes for that?
Absolutely. The conversation is still ongoing, even though we've experienced COVID, and it's kind of interrupted our progress a little bit, but we're still all working towards the same goal, which is including our kids in a meaningful way. So we're still talking about Best Buddies and incorporating that and how we're going to fund that. Because that's a big one too, is some of these things cost money, but many of the things that we can do as a district and a community don't cost anything.
The language first.
Exactly.
The people language.
Yeah, people first.
People first language. Thank you.
People first. It's not a big, huge deal, but it is important to us. Then one of the most important suggestions that we had for the board was restructuring the special education department. So taking a look at how things are operating daily, communication with parents, communication with teachers and special education professionals, and trying to see how we can restructure it in a more positive manner, because we do have some stories that are kind of hurtful, and we also have some very positive experiences. So we want to try to continue the positive experiences, but let's fix these areas. And they have done so already. And we've been very pleased with the restructuring so far. We're excited to see what next year has in store for us, even though it's a little scary.
Yeah.
But it took a lot of work for this to happen. It took a lot of work on the parents and advocating for our children for a positive change. And it took a lot of work from teachers and aides. So it was never one person that helped make these changes. It was
a community.
It was a community that helped guide these changes, which is so important and reassuring for families like mine.
That's amazing. We're so glad that things have improved even in the time that you guys have worked, and it's going to continue to improve hopefully. And we do. I look forward to hopefully we can have you back on in 6 months, and we'll see how things are going at that point. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. We really appreciate you coming in and talking to us. Join us next time. We are going to be having Jenna Sigmund to teach us a little bit about the Bellbrook-Sugarcreek Education Foundation. Hopefully you have a good evening, and we will see you on Wednesday.